already finished the chapter 1. As I said, the PPT file is not the main lecture material. It's just a supplementary to help my lecture. So I try to, since the last semester, I tried to not to use the PPT file, less and less. Okay. So because I realized that last few years when I used the PPT file a lot, students only focus on the PPT file, not to pay attention to my lecture, and even for the exam, only study with the PPT file. Then if you realize that it's not enough, they try to cheat during the exam. So please, the best way, read the textbook before you come to class. Then pay attention to the lecture. Sometimes I cannot cover each and every line in detail. This is not elementary class, elementary school, the classroom. Okay, I'm not going to teach each and every detail, but I'd like to do my best to give the idea and concept of the operating system as well as the relevant algorithm. Okay, so please, and also you can review after the class using the also textbook. Then after that you can find more information from internet or the reference paper or the reference the textbook. That will be the best way to study operating system. Also, in addition to the lecture, this semester we are going to have the 4 to 5 times of the exercise lab, mostly focused on the Linux or Unix-based style, the operating system, because I realized that most of the students are very familiar with the graphical user interface, including Windows and so on, and Mac OS, but not much used for the familiar with such a command line interface, including the Linux and the Unix system. So instead of installing the new operating system, we'd like to use a virtual machine provided by the author of this textbook. So you can download the virtual machine image. It's a CentOS, it's I think 800, less than 800. It's not the big operating system you can download, and also you need to install the software to utilize such a virtual machine image. So I recommend the VM player, which is free. You can download and install. And also, if you already have the VirtualDock or the VM player, as long as they are compatible, so you can use the virtual machine software. So this is the example of using the VM player as well as with the given virtual machine images. So next class, the Thursday. Yeah. Thursday we are going to have the first exercise lab. To bring your own laptop. We do not have the computer lab that can have the almost 60 students. So please bring your laptop in the classroom. One thing is, I know sometimes you are using your laptop during my lecture. It's totally fine, but you can save your battery. We do not have many power outlets. So please save your power. So if you are not sure, you can find the spot that can be connected to the power outlet. Then once I finish the chapter 2, the next class, then the GA will be in charge of your exercise lab. Okay. So please, but before you come to the classroom, download the image and install the VM player. Okay. Any question regarding to the exercise lab? Okay. And also, from time to time, I'd like to use this virtual machine for demonstration of the example or concept of the lecture. Let me keep this one. Okay, so I think I mostly did the chapter 1, but didn't finish the lecture note. So I'd like to finish the lecture note. I think we didn't discuss about some of the architecture of the operating system. We discussed like the interface, the operating system, which means because we have the very limited resources, but we have a lot of consumer, which means the processors. They need to share the limited resource. How they can communicate? One of the way is the interface. The interface is the electronic signal. So like in this classroom, if you have any question, you can enter my the lecture by raising your hand. It's the same idea. So you can send the electronic signal to your operating system, other devices. For example, if you read the data from the hard disk drive, then there is a disk controller. This controller is ready to send the data to the CPU, computer system. How they inform. So at that time, send the electronic signal, that is an interrupt. Then the once operating system receives the interrupt signal, then do the interrupt routine, the next step. Okay, so that is interrupt-based. So during the I/O management, we will see more details about the interrupt-based, how interrupt is working for the input and output, the management. Another characteristic of the operating system is the dual mode. Dual mode means, so today we are going to talk about a little bit the system call, system library later. Okay, so then to use such a system call and system library, the operating system supports such a dual mode, which means dual means two. There are two different modes. So that is the user mode and system mode. Because we have, it's always happen due to the lack of the resource. Since the system has the lack of the resource, the system should manage such a thing. If you allow all the process consumer to use the resources, or they compete every time, your operating system will be messed up. So operating system divided into two modes. One is the user mode. User mode means it's the area where your application program are running. Then, if you need, sometimes when you process your application, the procedure, then you need to access the data, read the data from hard disk drive, for example. Then, who will be in charge of to read such a data from hard disk drive? Not application program. Instead, the system. Okay, so that is the idea. So whenever you need to access something data or something I/O, the important thing, we will define such an important thing by the system library layer. Okay, but so in that case, we are going to divide who will be in charge of such an operation. That is the dual mode. So that is the user mode. So system mode or kernel mode. So even though it looks like I'm going to read the data from the file, hard disk drive, but actually you are not going to read the file. Instead, you are going to just ask to the kernel system. Then kernel is in charge of to read the data and return the data to the application. Similarly, so whenever you use the system resource, it will be divided into two. That is the dual mode. Why do we need such a different mode? First, security. Security is one of the important things. If you allow all the processes, any application access such a system, it will be messed up, and anybody can read any data. So it will not be secure. And also optimization. So kernel will take care, manage, and control such a system access. Okay, so this slide shows it's divided into two. For example, I'd like to do it's from your program. I'd like to do read the data. For example, you are not going to read directly. Instead, you can use something interface, the library that will be the system library. We will talk about the system library today, or it's a kind of system API. It's a function. Okay? Then you call such a system call system function. Then your program mode will be changed to the kernel mode. Then you are not doing anything. Okay? Instead, kernel is in charge of to read the data. Once you read the data, then return the data to the user application. During that time, your application is not doing anything, just waiting. Okay? So this is the dual mode operation. But you may not realize such a difference. So such a waiting time. Because it's a short time happen. So we will see the evidence of that. For example, So this is one of the commands to see the statistics of your system. You can see the CPU part. CPU part, whenever you see the CPU resource, it has always a US, user and system. User means how much BC for the user mode. And the sys means how much the system is busy for the kernel mode. Okay, this time it's 1%, 0%, 0%, 1%, and so on. It is recommended in this system there's nothing. Okay, I'm not doing anything, so it's mostly idle. ID means idle. Okay, but in real the production system, it is recommended the 3-to-1 or 2-to-1 balance. Okay, for example, 60% and 30%. The 60% the user, the mode, and the 30% kernel mode, like that. So this is the dual mode operation. The command is if you are interested to test, it's a VM state. There are a lot of such a something state command in the Linux, but I will introduce later more. So next, I'm going to skip this part because it's chapter 3. We will see the very details of how to manage the process. So this is the main job of the operating system. So just keep in mind, the operating system should be able to manage the processes, create process, and manage the process, and terminate the process. We will see details of such a process management. I mentioned many times. It's the most important part of the operating system. We will see later. Okay? Everything is a process. So for example, this is the list of the process. Okay? Then which means they are in the memory. So CPU is allocated to their resource to each process. Because we have only one or two the processor, CPU. So but we have such a many processes. So operating system should manage. In other words, it's scheduling to be fair with the many processes. Okay? And the second part is where are the such a number of process running is on the memory. They are in the memory, so memory. The management is also important. Okay. I'm going to skip this part. Pretty much. I already explained about such architecture. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 1. I'd like to have the first exercise lab. So why don't you bring your cell phone or the computer, but should be connected. If you are using the data plan, so that will be better because many students are using Wi-Fi. So then open your browser, then log into the, not log in, .it. This is the address, URL address. Or if you go to the Google Play or Apple App Store, so type code, then download and install the app. It's a very simple app. It's not complicated. Very simple app, so it doesn't take a time. Okay. So using browser. Once you go to the code.it, it will be like this one. I will give the information about this. This is the operating system. Where is the operating system? Yes, here. Please, this is important. you need to use a PIN number over there, 2269144. For your nickname, please follow this direction. First name, space, last name. Okay, first name followed by space, last name. Because I'm going to upload your score to the Canvas automatically at the time. Your name will be used. So if you type the weird name or nickname or the ID or short name, so I can identify your score. At that time it will be 0 marked. So please use the first name, space, last name. Should be same as the name presented on Canvas or Web Advisor. Please use the first name followed by last name. Okay? The step is not allowed. I'm going to delete. And also, I saw underbar. Please do not use the underbar in your name. If your name is too long, as much as possible. Okay, there might be limitation. So from the first name, please type as much as possible. So please do not use the underbar. And the format of exam quiz will be very simple. Okay, even I don't have to explain. You can quickly realize how to solve the problem. And the question, all the questions are not comprehensive questions. You can directly answer. I'm going to delete this. Please use the first name, space, last name. If your name is too long to fit the text box, as much as possible. I'm going to delete this. Okay, anyone who is not logged on? I'm going to delete this one. If you use please try to put the full name as much as possible instead of the initial.
My name doesn't fit in.
Yeah, so as much as possible, okay? From the first name. I'm going to delete the watch. This. And this also. Okay, so 10 seconds to start. Anyone who is still? Next time I'm not going to wait. This is the first time. Please don't be play. You need to help me.
It's just randomly picking up the names.
You need to type.
I did. It's not picking it up. It's picking.
I don't know what happened. Only you happened.
Is it the screen?
Yeah, you are waiting. Why don't you try it again? Okay, so let's just start.
See,
So you can use this pin number. This is a sample question. You can just touch the answer that you decide. I can see all the answer from the report. It's up to you. If you accidentally log out, use this PIN number to log in again. There is no way to make up. And also pay attention to the timer. Okay. I will give 8 students. Okay. First question. Computer system can be divided into 4 components. Which one is not in this? And also, please do not discuss. Pay attention to your answer. Don't think too much. So just all questions are just a simple question. Internet is not part of the computer system that we discussed. What is OS? So resource allocator, we can say embedded system use the OS, but OS is not the embedded system. So also bootloader can be part of operating system. It can be considered as the operating system, but actually main purpose is not operating system. What is the program? Running all times on the computer. It's a program. Any color blind? No, not. I'm so serious. So in case color blind, I need to find different ways. Okay, or you can use the shape. Okay, it's a kernel. Kernel is the one program running from beginning to end of the operating system. One is different from the other. What is that? Yes. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to use the point, instead the number of correct answers, so you don't have to be in a hurry, okay? If you want to, you can do that.
So what if we touch by mistake?
No way to
It's a
bet.
touch screen, so it's might touch by mistake.
No way. You should be careful. Please do not talk to each other. USB is the boss, but many of the people, especially non-computer science people, believe USB is a storage. But it can be used for storage, it can be used for many I/O devices. It's a bus, universal serial bus. So cache buffer is the storage to bridge the gap between high speed and different bandwidths. Two more? You will see. CPU register its own cache but share the memory. What is it? This is a symmetric multiple processor. Multi-core is one chip, you have multi-core. But in this case, we have multiple chip, but share the memory. It's the multi-processor. So if you have two processor, dual processor, this is a SMP. But if you have one processor but multi-core, it's a single processor but multi-core system like the quad core. But you still have one processor. Okay. I think that's something weird. This operation allows OS to protect itself and other system component. What is this? I think the no allow. This operation allows so we just discussed. See, okay, that's the quiz. Then once okay, it's done, then this result will be uploaded to the camera. Then as you can see, I can see who answered the true or false. So I can see the name of a student who answered first.
So for the first question, student push the wrong.
First question? Actually not counted already.
It took a different nickname for me.
Yeah, so let me know. So I don't know what happened in your case. So if you use the different name from your name, you should let me know, otherwise it will be automatically 0 mark. Okay, so let's move to the chapter 2. In this chapter, we will talk about this kind of overview of the entire semester. So we will see the main structure of the operating system. So what kind of operating system have you ever used? Windows, right? And if you are using the MacBook, the Macintosh, Mac OS, any other? Linux. What type of Linux? Linux has a lot of. Linux is one of the representative open source, the operating system. Ubuntu, Red Hat, CentOS, many. Okay, you will see the maybe the book size of the history of the such an open source. Then what else? DOS is one of them. So I used DOS the long time before. I think the almost 35 years old. Yes, Android is also operating system based on. Android is based on what? Java. Okay, so somebody consider Java virtual machine is also operating system. Why? We learned about the definition of operating system. It's in between user and system. Java virtual machine take care of all the Java application, right? You don't have to worry about what's going on inside. Even it's more convenient when you use a different hardware. You don't have to compile again. So as long as you are using the virtual machine, so you can use the same class file. Okay, so they also inside the Java virtual machine, you can manage the resource and the error handling and everything. So somebody consider the Java as a operating system. What else? Symbian. That is the old the operating system used for the cell phone. The one of the project in this class maybe 5-6 years ago. So we investigate the current and future operating system for cellular phone. At the time, Symbian is the third one, but nowadays I cannot see the Symbian operating system. What about the iOS? iOS is also operating system, which is based on Mac OS. Okay, Mac OS is also based on it's a Linux operating system, and plus the new very nice the Object-C. Then that is the Object-C library. We will discuss about the system library. Then the Mac OS use the Object-C library. Okay, then pretty much that's the older thing. No, there are many other operating systems. These are the major general purpose of the operating system. But there exists a lot of the operating system which can be used for the specific purpose, like the real-time operating system or embedded operating system and something specific purposes. So we can consider all of these software are operating system. We'd like to see in general, what is the architecture, general structure of this such an operating system. So if you are asked to develop and design first, design and develop the operating system,